like, oh, I gotta try that.
Right.
Okay.
No, I was trying to be different. It
It's
didn't
all good. It's A-okay. How are you
I
doing?
am doing very well. How about you?
I'm doing cool.
Yeah,
Can't complain.
I had to refresh my lips for the night. Usually by the end of the night, I'm like, it's over. I'm done. Lip gloss is
I
gone.
feel
I was
you.
like, let me put some on.
Right. I usually start getting dressed around like an hour before the live, and I'm like, oh, child, let me roll over
Yes,
and get this face together.
exactly. Absolutely.
Well, good. So I know I jumped in and talked a little bit about suicidal ideations, the difference between passive and active, and anybody who has any additional questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. But I also want to dedicate time and honor Robyn's time. I allow her to tell a little bit more about who she is and what she does. I gave you a brief little introduction, but feel free to introduce yourself, Robyn.
Okay, well, my name is Robyn Minefee. I'm a licensed professional counselor here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm also a certified hypnotherapist as well. I work with Anchored Counseling. I've been a clinician for about 6 or 7 years. Try not to date myself too much, but yeah, I've been a clinician about 6 or 7 years. I specialize in working with those that are processing trauma, processing any anxiety, substance use, self-esteem issues, and things like that. Yeah.
Cool, cool. And so, as you know, every month I have a theme, and this particular month we're focusing on two different themes actually. The one is Suicide Prevention Month, and the next one is like recovery month.
Okay.
And so, but tonight we're going to focus on suicide because oftentimes that's something that is like swept underneath the rug. Even though suicide is the 10th leading cause in the United States, it's something that we tend to not really focus on. I think over 234 people die by suicide every single day. And so I know we often talk about like depression, anxiety, and whatnot, but how has it been, I guess, with working with clients when they come to you and they're saying, okay, I have these thoughts, what should I do? Because I think, in the state of Georgia, we have the 1013.
Yes.
And I remember seeing this post and it was just like, this is what I can tell my therapist. This is what I won't tell my therapist, so I don't get 1013.
Yes.
But what advice can you give to an individual who is like, hey, I have these thoughts. I don't want to be put to shame. Can you help me work through them?
Yeah, it's really tough, especially in the Black community. It's really tough to provide that safe space so that they feel safe enough to be able to share that. As a clinician, you really, really have to be careful of when a client is speaking to you and feeling comfortable enough and feeling vulnerable enough to be able to share that. Where do you go from there? You don't want to jump to conclusions when someone says, gosh, I just want this all to be over. And you're like, wait, what you want to be over? Okay, let me get my phone,
Right.
call and everything. No, you have to be in that safe space with them and let them know it's okay to feel like things aren't okay. Because everybody's not going to be happy every day. Everybody's going to have, some people are going to have those sad days, and it's okay to acknowledge those feelings. It's actually better to acknowledge those feelings so that you can begin processing, whatever it is that's going on. And so as a clinician, when my clients come to me and say, hey, I'm not feeling okay today, and, I have a history of this, or I've done this before, or I'm having these thoughts. Okay, I hear you. Let's begin to talk about this and providing that space for them. Because a lot of African American people think that, oh, that's just a white thing. We don't do that. We're strong. Whatever it is that we're going through, we're going to have to get over it, and we're going to have to move forward. And so I make sure that they know that this is okay, that you're having these feelings, and let's talk about it.
How do you help destigmatize all of those aspects to help usher in like that safe space, so to speak?
So I make sure that I let them know, I normalize it. I let them know that they're not alone with these feelings. They're not isolating themselves. It's not only them that are having these feelings. These feelings are okay to have. We are in a place right now where we have a lot of things that are going on. We're in a pandemic. We have all of these things on social media that are being publicized even bigger than they were. We knew that they were going on, but now that it's in the media with all of these shootings and all of these things are being thrown at us, and then we have to live life as normal. You know, we still have to get up every day. We still have to go to work and tend to our families and tend to ourselves. And so I make sure that they know that it is normal to feel overwhelmed. And hey, what are we going to do about these feelings? Let's get ahead of these feelings sometimes before it even gets to that point. Let's create these coping skills, these healthier coping skills. Like you said, you know, we have the anger and we have the drugs and things like that. What are other coping skills that we can utilize? Because a lot of times people don't realize that there are other coping skills that we can use. We don't have to go to the bottle or go to, you know, the weed or whatever the case may be. You know, we have other healthy coping skills, and that's why I have incorporated that, you know, workout therapy in there. You know, that's one of my biggest coping skills that I love to teach my clients.
Definitely. Joining the body with emotions. I know for us as trauma workers, we try our best to make sure that our clients are fully aware of what's going on in the body, because the body will let you know way before that frontal cortex understands what's going on. And so for a lot of us, it's either like tension in the shoulders or having that stress in the back, having your chest tighten up. It's not just anxiety, it's just your physical blood pressure being raised and whatnot. And so what are some things that you utilize? I know typically it's either yoga or exercise, but how can we just start incorporating it on a daily basis so that it's not a huge event?
Absolutely, right. Absolutely. It's good that you say, you know, that we have to pay attention to our bodies. That's one thing I love teaching my clients is, where do you feel it in your body? And in the beginning, they can't tell me because they are not used to paying attention to their bodies. And once I start teaching them, it's like, oh yeah, I do get that pain right here when I start feeling, you know, a little stress, or I do get that little knocking feeling right here when I feel a little stress. And so they realize, oh, I have to pay attention to what I'm feeling now. Oh, you know, my body sends me signals. My body tells me when I'm under stress. And so teaching them that in the beginning really, really helps them to really get ahead of the game. A lot of times I kind of sneak it on my clients, especially when it comes to those clients that I know don't like working out. I don't work out. I don't do that. That's not me. So come on, Sierra, let's go for a walk real quick, and you know, let's just get outside and look at the trees, and that's what we do. And then before we know it, I'm like, you do realize we walked a mile, or you do realize that we did. Oh my gosh, and I feel so good, and oh my goodness. And so that's all it is just getting out there in nature and embracing everything that's around you. And you don't even realize what you're doing, especially when you're walking and you're talking. You really don't even realize what you're doing when you're out there. And so getting them out there and getting them comfortable, and sometimes tricking some of them. They know what I'll be doing, but they let me do it.
Definitely. It's a great distraction tool, and it helps with de-escalation and everything else, because trust and believe, you know, I work in Midtown and we have like a lot of hills and whatnot, and some of them, they're like, Miss Sierra, I'm not your size. Okay, I can't do this. I'm like, take that can't out of your vocabulary. We got this. You know, we definitely got this. And so bringing it back from like the distraction to like actually focusing on it, because, you know, sometimes distraction can also harm us as well. Like we'll utilize work as a distractor, or we'll utilize our families as like that barrier between actually working on ourselves. And so how can we help our clients, I guess, find different coping skills? Like I was telling the audience earlier today, I was letting them know that it's not selfish. Like suicide may come off as being selfish, but in that moment of distress, or during that period of distress, they feel as though this is the only way out because they don't know any other way. I literally have a client that I'm working with now where like he's been in situations where like he's had near-death experiences. And he felt as though like, okay, well, if nobody else is able to kill me, then I'm going to just kill myself. And so how do we widen the scope so that they can explore other different avenues?
Yeah. A lot of times it's just introducing them to those avenues. A lot of times what you don't know, what you're ignorant to, you don't know. And so, like a lot of people, when I talk to them and we talk about yoga, oh, I thought yoga was just for skinny white people. Yeah, no, no, not at all. I'm not skinny and I'm not white, so no, it's not. So absolutely not. Yoga is like a great form of therapy, but sometimes it's just introducing them to it and showing them that it is possible. You know, letting them know that these are other options that you can do. Oh, I've never tried that. Is a lot of times what I get from my clients. Oh, I didn't even think that that was an option. Oh, I didn't know that that was available to me. Or, you know, I have to sometimes even go through the resources, help them find classes and things like that, you know, to introduce them to other avenues of coping skills, because sometimes we just don't know. And what we're ignorant to, and I use ignorant as in just not knowing, you know, not as a negative term, but what we just don't know about, we just don't know. And so helping them create that list of coping skills.
Definitely. I know for me, I help them create crisis safety plans, you know, like just a basic crisis safety plan, like, you know, with the who, what, where, when, and why, like who are some immediate individuals that you can call on during times of crisis? What are some places that you find peace and rest in? And then what are some activities that you like doing? Because sometimes in those moments you get very stonewalled and you forget that you have all these things. And for the clients that are just like, I don't have anything that I like to do, and I'm like, well, okay, let's go back to your childhood. What made you happy?
Absolutely.
What are some things that you strayed away from that you would like to go back to? And so just developing that. And for anybody who is watching this on a consistent basis, crisis safety plans are not just for individuals who are dealing with suicidal ideation. You can create a crisis safety plan for any and everything. Like even if you're dealing with work stressors, create a crisis safety plan. If you're dealing with family-related issues, or you're dealing with that cousin that keeps calling you and getting on your nerves, create a crisis safety plan for that. So,
a crisis doesn't only mean that you're ready to do self-harm. A crisis can mean I'm in a area that I don't want to be in right now. I'm not feeling great. I'm not okay. And I want to be out of this area. So who can I call in case of emergency? It's like break glass in case of emergency. Who can I call when so-and-so is getting on my nerves, when my boss is getting on my nerves, you know, when I need a break from the kids, whatever the case may be, that safety plan. I have a couple of people on speed dial myself that I know I can call and they can, you know, get me back to my grounded place. But yeah, absolutely.
And one thing that I love about what you do, Robyn, is the fact that, like, even in the midst of you pairing the emotional with the physical, you know, the 8 dimensions of wellness, that's my jam. And so, like, you're tying into the impact. I was like, what's happening? Okay.
I was like, did it freeze? I'm like, okay.
It did freeze. But yeah, like how does the breeze feel on my skin? You know, like how does the sun feel? Things like that. You know, or what are the people that are around me? Like you're allowing them to just be able to widen the scope and tap into all of those different senses. So that's why I love what you do.
Yes, absolutely. We do not realize how much the sun is free. First of all, the sun is free, and so is the oxygen out there with the trees and everything. All of that is free. You know, a lot of times we think about, like I mentioned, the yoga classes that cost. Boxing classes cost. When you think of exercise, you're thinking of all these things that cost. Going for a hike, that's free. Going outside just to walk around, that's free. That sun on your skin is giving you so much energy that we don't even realize what it's doing to us and to our mental health. I went to Ohio back in January of this year, and I was there for an extended period of time. Ohio is not a sunny place. It's not Florida. It is not sunny at all. After about a week or so there, I was like, I feel bad. I was like, why am I feeling bad? And it was because it was no sun there. It was very dreary, overcast almost every day, and I didn't realize it. The only reason I realized it's here is because we had one day of sun, and I went outside on that day of sun, and I went walking, and I felt so good on that day, and I was like, I needed vitamin D. That's what it was. And you don't realize that. So taking those clients out to walk, it does so many different things. It's not just the walking, like you said. Yes, it's the sun. Yes, it's out there in the oxygen, being around in nature, and all of that is just mental clarity. Yeah.
Love it. Well, does anybody have any questions for Robyn, or just any questions in general about suicide and suicidality, suicidal ideations? Let's see. We got a couple of responses like, exactly, a whole bunch of A's. Let them know. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah.
Well, Robyn, can you let the people know where to find you and how they can connect with you?
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at MindBodyGA, or you can contact me if you would like to schedule a session, or if you know anyone that currently needs therapy that you feel like can benefit from therapy. My phone number is 404-919-0409, or you can go online to Stay Anchored with an ED on the end.org.
Definitely. And also, if you didn't catch any of that, you can head to the link in my description box. Like I mentioned, she was featured on our Skin Deep panel for the Mental Wellness for the Culture Conference, and she was just phenomenal. And so you can definitely catch her profile. It's still up there. I kept all the profiles from all the speakers. So that is just a resource. So y'all head over if you're looking for a clinician of color specifically. Just head over and you can just choose an array of individuals there. All right, y'all.
And if I can just leave everyone with just a couple of tips before we go. When it comes to suicidal ideation, you if you know that you can get into that dark place, if you know that you already are suffering from depression and things like that, you always want to try to stay ahead of the game. So number one, make sure that you stay in tune with yourself. Like we talked about earlier, make sure you know where you're feeling that stress in your body. When you start feeling that shoulder aching or whatever it is, okay, hey, I need to activate my crisis plan, whatever that is. Let others know that you're not okay. Let them know, don't be afraid to tell someone, hey, I'm not okay today. That may mean that your friend just comes and take you out for a drink or take you out for food. That's my favorite thing. Go out for food, to go and eat,
Yes.
and that'll make me feel a lot better. So yes, I am the workout therapist, but I love to eat at the same time.
Yes.
But make sure that you do have those things in place. Sometimes tuning out of social media can help a lot. Too much social media can definitely wear you down. Too much news, and like you mentioned, the cousins and them that's getting on your nerves. Too many negative people can also weigh you down. So being aware of all of those things prior to getting to that point can really help prevent all of those negative thoughts. So that's it.
Definitely. Yes, y'all. So just add that into your repertoire of all things that you need to do. And thank you so much, Robyn. I really do appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Love to see you tonight. I can go take off this lip gloss now. Have a good night, Sierra.
You too.